Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope that you're doing super fantastic because you should be. So there's that. And I'm doing super fantastic because I should be too, right? So, in my last video, I was talking about how you, dear loved one, are the expansion of consciousness. Now, in the metaphysical, spiritual community, we talk a lot about how we should expand our consciousness, and we should. We should, even though that's a little bit of a trendy way to look at things. Whatever, it's fine. But it's like those of us who have become aware of awareness or conscious of consciousness. Yes, we absolutely should be expanding our consciousness. But I was just pointing out the fact that when the universal mind, when the creator or God had the big aha moment, the realization that it exists, when it had the big I am moment, and realized I exist, I am. When it had that moment, like I said, I got to believe its mind began racing. And yes, I'm talking in a linear way as if it happened in the past or something. It makes it a lot simpler to talk about these things when we do it in a linear way. Please understand, dear loved one, I do know that there is only one moment, and that is right now. Yes. So, universal mind, when it had the aha moment, it realized that it is aware of its own awareness. It began creating through its imagination, and then began wanting to explore its creation. And it created you and it created me. We are expressions of it. And now we are exploring more of the creation. And when you become aware of that, then you are then expanding consciousness through your own consciousness, but it is ultimately expanding the consciousness of the universal mind. And when in doing that, we realize that every possible experience that ever could be had exists. Doesn't necessarily mean it's been manifested yet. It could be in the quantum realm, in the quantum field, quantum mechanics. Because the double slit experiment shows us that everything does exist. It just hasn't been collapsed to something that is manifested yet. Meaning, it could be here, or it could be there, it could be this, or it could be that. But until attention is directed towards it, it is just a wave function. But as soon as we focus our attention on it, that's when it becomes real. That's when it becomes manifested. That's what the double slit experiment teaches us. And no, I'm not going to go down the road and get into a big double slit experiment talk, because yes, that's a slippery slope and I tend to do that. But I'm not doing it right now. But even though I'm not a big manifestation, self-help guru type, I do talk about it from time to time, because when we talk about the nature of reality, yeah, it's like sometimes it's like, well, how can I apply this knowledge to my life? Even though it is interesting, and it is, just on it by itself, it's very interesting. But it's like, well, yeah, but if we can apply it to our lives, why wouldn't we? And we can. That's how we do it. We learn those things. So I just encourage you to, whatever experiences you want to experience in your life, focus your attention on that. Because somebody, some poor schlub somewhere, is going to have the negative experiences. It just is going to have to happen. Because all experiences that are possible to have are going to be had. And that's unfortunate for that, whoever that is. But it doesn't have to be you, at least. I mean, there is that. You can choose to focus your attention on something positive. Choose to focus your attention on the experiences that are meaningful to you. So that's what I encourage people to do. But anyway, dear loved one, if you would, please give me a like on this video. Big old thumbs up. I would so appreciate if you would do that. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do that as well. But also, I wanted to talk a lot about, I talk a lot about the construct. And when I do that, it sounds like I am implying that this realm, that this reality is artificial. And while it does have a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff that would indicate that it is artificial. There's just a lot of it. But the construct does seem to be a copy of something. And when I say that, I am reminded of Jean Baudrillard and his 4 stages of the simulacrum, which, by the way, is what the Matrix movies were based on. The book, his one of his books. Anyway, so, but in the 4 stages of the simulacrum, the first stage is that it is a copy of something that is real, and it looks just like what it is a copy of. Everything's fine. It just looks just like a copy. And then our consciousnesses may have been injected into here, and so therefore we can interact in it. It's like, yeah, this is just like the outside, except maybe we're kind of separated from it. So therefore, if we mess anything up, it doesn't contaminate the outside. Just a theory. But in the second stage, it begins to mask basic reality. Meaning that basic reality, it begins to make us think, hey, that's not what this is. It's not really what you're seeing. It's like, you're not really seeing what you think you're seeing. It begins to mask that basic reality because it's going to begin morphing into something that does not resemble that basic reality. So it begins with a mask of that, turning into something else. But then in the third stage, that's when it begins to mask the absence of reality, because now it is morphed into something that it is not, that is not the original. And it begins to mask that. It doesn't want us to see that there is no real reality, that this is, it's like, well, yes, we live in a reality, but it is not the basic reality. Then in the fourth and final stage, the simulacrum doesn't even care anymore. It's like, yep, this is not a copy. This is a reality that has no original copy. It is a copy of something that there is no original of. And that's pretty much the end of it as far as that goes. But there are so many ways that demonstrate that this reality that we live in, whether it is a programming or not, is not what we would call real. Because in a real reality, for example, Mandela effect could not happen. In a real reality, once something is done, it is done. It's set in stone. It's etched in history on all of that. Meaning, like when Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father." I can hear that in my head right now, because when I was a kid, I saw Star Wars so many times. Well, I cannot find, nor can you, nobody can find anywhere where Darth Vader said that. What he said was, "No, I am your father." And that doesn't even sound right. It's like, no, he really said, "Luke, I am your father." Whatever. So, but, so what that means is, originally, when I was a kid, he did say, "Luke, I am your father." But the programming has been changed. The coding has been changed. Now he says, "No, I am your father." Yeah. Or one of my favorite ones that I mention all the time is C-3PO. C-3PO, when I was a kid, I even had the action figure. He's gold from the top of his head to the bottom of both of his feet. You'll never convince me otherwise. However, nowadays, you cannot find anything of C-3PO that's not gold all the way, except for one of his legs is silver. It's just how it is. I still believe that when I was a kid, his leg was gold. Now it's silver, because the programming has been changed in our reality. There are so many Mandela effects. There's thousands of them, and people are having personal ones now too. So that's another example of the artificiality, the reprogrammability, if that's even a word, of this reality. Another one is the placebo effect. In the placebo effect, it works, everybody knows what placebo effect is. But in a real reality, Placebo would not happen. In a real reality, if someone has an illness, then they take a medicine for it. Now, what would happen then is by some chemical process, it would then get rid of that illness. But it has to be this pill. I'm going to take it, and it's going to do some chemical process inside my body, which then gets rid of the illness. But that has to happen, because in a real reality, where everything is strictly physical, that illness is in. There's no way to get rid of it without having something counteract it. Placebo effect is when they give someone what you call a sugar pill, which means it's nothing. It doesn't really do anything except trick you into believing that it's helping you. So by being tricked, your belief says, I'm going to take this and I'm going to get better. What healed you is your belief, not the actual pill. That is you changing the programming based on your own belief. That is rather amazing. That, again, would not happen in a real world or a real reality. Another one is those random number generator experiments where they had a computer set up or series of computers set up that were random number generators. And then they had people scattered out around the world who would, at a predetermined time, they would begin focusing on one number. So while these random number generators are randomly generating numbers, when these people somewhere in the world, not even knowing where each other are or where the number generators are or anything, when they started projecting into the field this one particular number, the random number generators began producing that number more often than any others. These things happen. That would not happen in a real reality. Couldn't happen in a real reality because that's a computer. It's wires and dials and buttons and circuits, and that's about it. And it's going to start randomly generating those numbers. And people just scattered around the world, separated by thousands of miles, not even knowing where the random number generator is located, begin focusing on a number, and then it starts to produce that number more often than any other. That would not happen in a real world. That is us affecting the coding, affecting the programming, affecting the field. In a real, physical, solid world, that couldn't happen. It just couldn't. So there are so many ways to demonstrate that this reality is programmable, is reprogrammable. Is it a computer simulation? Depends upon what you consider to be a computer simulation. I mean, is it on somebody's MacBook in their in some kid's bedroom? Probably not. I mean, I guess it could be, but probably not. I mean, there are theories that black holes are computers. I mean, they do store information. That much is true. So maybe it's some kind of computer that is completely off the wall, out of our realm of thinking. Could be a computer that is what we would call as an entire galaxy with several black holes in it. And we're like, wait a minute, that's the computer? It's like, yeah, that's the computer. It's like, oh, well, I guess in that case, sure. So in a real reality, none of these things, these reprogramming, this coding, none of this would happen. But yet it does. So that's what I got for you, loved one. If you would, please give me a thumbs up on this video. If you haven't already, please give me a like. I would so appreciate it if you would do that. And please subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone that you think may need to or would be also be interested in it. And also let me know what you think. Here's what I'd really like for you to do in the comments. No kidding, not just listening comments. Please let me know any Mandela effects that you have had that most people wouldn't be aware of. Because there are a lot of people out there these days who are having personal Mandela effects. And those are fascinating. How it's like, oh, so that is your Mandela effect. Meaning this is something that's happening in your life that only you can identify with. It's like, yeah, but it was this way when I was a kid, but now it's this way. It's just something that's fascinating. Anyway, dear loved one, please do that. Yeah. And you can find me on X at Matt Stevens, MSA. Anyway, loved one, that's what I got for you. I do love you. I truly do. And I'll be back Directly.